In this episode, we talk about the power of one-to-one sales videos and video sales letters. Plus, we share some hacks from LinkedIn experts that work well for them. All that and a whole lot more in this episode of Inbound Buzz.
Welcome to the Inbound Buzz Podcast, your weekly jolt of all things digital and inbound marketing. Brought to you by redpandas.com.au. Now for your host and co-founder of Red Pandas, Moby Sadiq.
Welcome to the Inbound Buzz Podcast, episode 124. My name is Tony Cowd, and I'm joined by my co-host, Moby Sadiq.
How you going, Tony? You all right?
Yeah, good. Did I get it right, Moby?
What, my name?
Yeah.
I would like to think so. At this point in
introduction.
time, you can get my name right. No, the introduction. That's fine, man. That's perfect.
How you been?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Great to share some LinkedIn news, some Google news, some TikTok news, and our featured episode, our featured topic for today. So I can't wait to get into it. But on that note, what do we got with our news buzz this week?
Our first one is how to remove personal information from search results with the Google app. So Google has this app, right? They call it the Google app, and it's a personal information removal tool. So basically, Moby, is apparently there's a lot of personal information out there on the internet. There's government IDs, there's personal information, credit card, bank statements, it's all on the internet. And I didn't know about this, but Google made an app where you can remove all those personal information only through that app. But that's quite scary.
I didn't even know we needed this tool.
Yeah.
Like, why the hell do I need a tool to remove my personal information? But I guess it's there, right? Like, there might be websites out there that share. I mean, credit cards just scary. Like, that just shouldn't be out there. But even just, say you send your bank an ID as a PDF, and then they upload it on their server, and that server is indexable, then maybe people can find your stuff. So I'm glad that they have this tool. So if you have any personal information about yourself that you're scared, you can use this removal tool. I'm scared that we have to have this tool, but it goes to show like your information isn't private out there and you have to be careful. Absolutely.
So, if you're getting spam calls or anything to do with your personal information, download the app and apparently it will help you. Next news buzz, voice search. What is it and how does it work? So, Moby, how many times have we spoke about something, jiu-jitsu, most of the times, and all of a sudden we see ads about, that particular topic? Like, it happens all the time, right? So if paid search ads are, like recording us and presenting data, we got to think about, the search, voice search optimization area of the industry, right? So basically, it's a new industry. People are going through it. Not many companies are, preparing for it. But we can talk to Siri. We can talk to Amazon's Echo, I think.
Is it Alexa?
Oh, sorry, Alexa.
Yeah.
That's right. And we can do voice searches, right? Like restaurants, whatever. Like, how do I find things? So it's very important that we get our businesses optimized for voice search. And most of it has to do with just the general SEO tips, right? So you got the Google business page profiles, update your information, create an FAQ page with information, keyword research, do a lot of keyword research and make it relatable, make sure that what you're producing out there can be searched on, and also mobile friendly. I think that's another thing to look at. But the fifth one that we talk a lot about is produce content, lots of content. So, that's going to help being searched more, not just on the search bar, but also with the voice searches as we grow and we become more, automated and lazier.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tony, you've just given some, really good tips about how to optimize for voice search. And it's one of those things like in the SEO space, people have been talking about for so long, voice search. And it is growing, right? So like by 2024, which is only 2 years away, digital voice assistants will reach 8.4 billion units. That's more than the world's population.
Yeah.
And they only have data for America, but nearly 1/3 of the US population has a smart speaker device. So like, Alexa or a Google thing, right? So this is one of those things. And you touched on something. So for the longest time, SEOs have been talking about okay, how to optimize for voice search. And there are things you can do. You can put, schema tags and stuff on bits of content, but you hit the nail on the head. Like, people spend too much time figuring out how to hack things and what code to focus on, and not enough time on what you said. Just produce more freaking content. So I won't harp on it now, because we are going to touch about it in the Can We Fix It episode, or the Can We Fix It segment later today in this episode. But producing more content that answers people's questions is going to, by nature and virtue, you're going to have content where people use their Alexa device or their Google Hangout device or whatever the Google device is called.
Yep.
It'll actually come up. So I think people can overthink it. The key is just to produce that content that's going to be optimized for voice search, and just being aware that that's how people search now. So like you said, answering it in a way where it's like an FAQ style or those things. But yeah, absolutely.
LinkedIn marketing hacks. So there's a lot of marketing hacks for LinkedIn to be optimized, to be found on, lots of stuff you can do out there. And I'm quite excited about this topic because, you get the typical consistency and frequency of content, sharing your posts, that helps out. But, like sometimes, the algorithm doesn't, present your post and share it as much, right? So you don't get as much outreach. Secondly, just sharing insights, there's all that typical stuff, and typical page optimization. Like on my LinkedIn, you can have multiple keywords or positions, and you get searched more. But Moby, I want to know your ideas, because LinkedIn reached out to you and they needed you to represent them, right, and post content. So a lot about this topic.
Yeah, so LinkedIn was trying to create if someone's new to the show, they're trying to create a TikTok page for Australia. So they reached out to me and a bunch of other influencers. To be honest, I was like the smallest one. Like, I had like F all reach compared to these people. You know what I mean? But they used me for that. But anyway, so what Tony's referring to, this post came out, and some LinkedIn professionals were sharing their tips, and I agree with a lot of it. There's stuff there around live streaming, which I guess can help. There was a comment here in this article that talks about the fact that he said, like, I've exploited everything I can to my advantage, but all my leads come from personal accounts, not company accounts. And which is really, really true. On LinkedIn, it's about a personal brand, and it doesn't matter how good your brand is. The representatives of that brand are always going to get a lot more cut through and engagement and, dare I say, leads than a company page will. That's just the way LinkedIn is. It's a person-to-person type of network. So I'm not saying you shouldn't optimize your company pages, but all that fulfillment comes from personal. So one thing that we do, which you can look us up if we're in Australia, or if you're somewhere else, use someone else. But we'll actually train people on two components. One, actually building their personal brands, like how they actually create personal. Like me, I post 3 to 5 times per week on my LinkedIn, right? Because I know, like, it's for free. Like, why wouldn't you post on LinkedIn? You're just punching out content. The reach is incredible, second only to TikTok. Why wouldn't you put out stuff for free that you're an expert on? You know what I mean? But we were talking about this before we started recording. The thing on LinkedIn, like, I was at an event last week where I was a panelist, and this university student said to me, look, Moby, I actually follow you and you put stuff out. How do you get over the hurdle of not saying the wrong thing or embarrassing yourself? And and it's interesting that this young, woman asked me this. Even like 40, 50-year-olds struggle with this. Like, how do I get over the hurdle of putting something out and not embarrassing myself? And little does she know that everyone actually, that's one of the biggest problems people have.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, I struggled with that before I started. But the thing you have to remember on LinkedIn, it's not about appearing to be smart. You're not trying to I'm teaching people things. That's actually not the stuff that even resonates. The stuff that resonates on LinkedIn is relatability, right? So people want your relatability, your experience with something. So even if you're a student, even if you're early in your marketing career, you might be like, look, I discovered the art of using personas, or I discovered the art of creating content marketing strategy. This is what worked for us. What do you guys think? Or, I'm struggling balancing my work and my life. Like, people complain, LinkedIn it's turning into Facebook. If Facebook was good. You know what I mean? It's about sharing relatable stories, your experiences. It's not about appearing smart. So I think when people get that out of their heads, that I don't need to be an expert on LinkedIn to post something. You don't have to be smart or a thought leader to post something. And it's more about sharing your experiences. I think that's when the penny drops and people start creating content. So that's definitely a key thing there.
Fantastic insight. Duracell calls on tech geeks to energize new TikTok page. So, the company batteries, Duracell, I think they're the ones with the bunnies and stuff that advertise all over the, on TV. They're looking for TikTok creators to help them, energize that page. And I find it's interesting because LinkedIn approached Moby to try help their TikTok and energize their
yeah, we've
page.
established that. So I'm not a tech guy, right? So this is quite interesting. Now, I actually think that we were talking about this before, and it's only dawned on me now that Duracell, because how much are they offering?
I think it was like $15,000.
$15,000, right?
Yeah.
Tony, think about this. So I went through this process myself, right? Where LinkedIn didn't necessarily reach out to me. They went to a big, like a creative agency, right?
Yeah.
They reached out to a creative agency, and then that creative agency reached out and tried to find a bunch of influencers, and then they reached out to me. So this is very normal and common. So this like the caliber or size of businesses that Duracell plays in, they use agencies for their strategy and to find the influencers. Duracell freaking knows that. This is a PR play, man.
Interesting.
That's what this is. This is a PR play. This is a PR play from Duracell to say, hey, we're giving away $15,000 to 5 creators. That's what this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're not actually using this for the creators. They already know the creators they're going to pick, right? They already know who they're going to pick. I promise you. This is just as a PR thing. Now, this is quite interesting. So normally brands don't do it like that, but kudos for them for getting a bit more free PR and doing it this way. What I would recommend if a brand was looking to do this, like if you're a big brand like Duracell, then you reach out to someone who already has. You wouldn't reach out to me because I'm a marketer. I have access, and I guess I'm sort of trying to build my brand or thought leadership in the world of digital marketing. I'm not a tech guy. But you'd approach someone like Marques Brownlee, who is the world's biggest tech influencer out there. For a bit of, I guess, just credibility, a bit of weight, you know what I mean? Someone like that. Now, the question is, you might not be as big as Duracell to afford a Marques Brownlee. There's also the concept of micro influencers. And a lot of people think that getting like 10 micro influencers is actually a lot more effective than big influencers. And actually, there's a lot of data to suggest using micro influencers who might only have 1,000 or 10,000 followers, or maybe around that 10,000 follower mark, is actually more effective than getting an influencer, because people know those influencers are influencers and they don't have that much weight as all these micro influencers. Now, this is a good opportunity for smaller brands. Now, this is a really good segue. A new thing came out and the only reason why I know is someone reached out to me, where you can reach out to creators. So, for example, I opened up my TikTok 2 days ago and it said I had an offer for 150 US to do a post for them. And it's like an AI writing tool, right? And they said, maybe we'll pay you $150 to put one post out. Now, I'm really busy, so I just replied back with $500 US and I'll do it, right? Now, I'm not trying to be a diva. I actually don't really care whether I do that or not, right? I'm not trying to make $150 here or there. But the point is, TikTok has a marketplace, right? And they've done this before everyone else. They've done this before Instagram, Facebook. You had to use third-party apps, right? You had to use like Tribe app, for example, to find influencers. TikTok's put it natively in their app where you can go and you can say, I want someone in tech, I want someone in marketing, I want someone in luggage or furnishings, and who comes up. Okay, these 10 people come up, I'm going to offer them 150 US each. It's genius. It's actually genius. But for our listeners, what it means is if you're looking for influencers, you can find about a bunch of influencers, from their search, and you can go from there. So that's how I would do it.
Thanks for the insight. That's amazing. I would have taken $150. So, if you ever come to me. That wraps it up for News Buzz. Moving on, Featured Buzz, the ultimate video sales strategy. So we're going to talk about one-to-one sales video, and we're going to talk about, videos for the mass. And this is interesting, right, Mobes?
Yeah, so video, everyone knows at this point, if you're listening to this, you found out 4 years ago video is important. So we don't need to talk about that. The fact that, there's really 2 categories of videos though. There's like the one-to-many, like you say. You put it on your YouTube pages, your website pages. It's one-to-many. It could be anything from a product reveal to a how-to a talking head video. In this video, we're going to be talking about ABC. That's quite known. But what I want to talk about more is the one-to-one video. It's highly underutilized and highly unleveraged, to be honest. And what it essentially is using one-to-one video in sales. So for example, we do this a lot at Red Pandas, and we coach and train a lot of our clients to do this. If I send you a proposal, Tony, right? You're wanting to buy digital marketing, and I send you a proposal. And I've done a pitch, and I've like showed you all our value proposition, and I've got you excited. I am now relying on you to communicate to your boss, your stakeholders, your business partners, whoever's part of that steering committee to make a buying decision. I'm relying on you to communicate it to them like I did to you. And you're not going to. You know what I mean? Like, our prospects are never going to communicate to whoever needs approval, you know, compared to us.
Yeah.
So what happens then, one of the things that happens is people compare you on price. So if you can make their job easier to relay how much value you're going to provide them via a video, they're going to share that. That's going to make the job easier. So I don't just send a proposal. If I'm sending a proposal to a client, I'm going to send a proposal. I'm going to do a one-to-one video using my webcam. Nothing fancy, no lights, none of that stuff. Just my normal webcam, and say, hey, Tony, I sent you this proposal. I wanted to point out 3 key things. One, you mentioned you had an issue with converting more sales and leads. So we've got this here for you. The second thing you mentioned here, the third thing there. Here is where you sign. Let me know if you have any issues. So I've given you an exec summary for my proposal.
So it's more personal, more unique.
It's more personal, more unique.
Right.
Now, that is just one context of one-to-one sales video. The other thing that has to be used is pre-sales, you know, using something called assignment selling. So one of the difference between a good salesperson and a bad salesperson is a bad salesperson will call you up and say, I'm just following up. How did you go with my proposal? I'm just following up. How did you go with my email? I'm just following up. I'm just following up. You know, people know you're trying to sell to them. You're not adding any value. A good salesperson, on the other hand, every time they reach out, they're offering you value, right? So we're going to talk about content a little bit later, but they're like, hey, Tony, I just wanted to send you this article on a 5-point paid ad audit. I noticed you're running Facebook ads. I think that you could really benefit from some of the data here. That's it. That's it, full stop. Not, I will call you next week and find out how you went with it. Not, let me know what you think. Not, I'll buy your coffee, because coffees aren't that freaking expensive. You know, that line does not work. Let's catch up for a coffee. Are you serious? Like, coffee's not that expensive. That shit hasn't worked since 2001, right? So that's valuable. So that is the idea of assignment selling, where you're giving your prospect an assignment to do. Even if, say, for example, I'm an architect, right? I was talking to an architect friend of mine, and I'm selling you come to me to buy your dream home. Right? Before you come to the meeting, I'm going to say, hey, Tony, can't wait to meet you and your wife around your home. A couple of resources I wanted to share with you. Here's a resource on the steps we take to make a dream home. Here's a resource on some of the beautiful jobs that we've done. Now, what happens when you come to the meeting? Like, I don't have to waste my time going through that process. We are closer to signing the check.
Interesting.
We are closer there. So using video in follow-ups, which are not really follow-ups, you're giving people value. Using videos for proposals, using videos for pre-sales appointments. It is so under leveraged. It drives me crazy. And it actually makes our job as marketing strategists a lot easier. We tell our clients and we train them on how to do this right. So there's that. But then also one thing that you're really, really, you know, an expert on, Tony, is the video sales letter. Yeah. So explain that. And is that more of a one-to-many type of video as opposed to the one-to-one?
Yeah, absolutely. So VSL has been done since a while. You know, like a lot of it's been done, I would like to say underground, but I love, you know, e-com, a lot of people selling stuff online, lead gen. They, you know, some of the guys that do a lot of paid media strategies and, you know, works, they use what we call a video sales letter. And apparently it was being invented by the Godfather, John Benson, but like, we don't know. So a VSL is very, very powerful because it helps, and it just helps deliver a message, right? Where, you know, you're trying to sell something, but there's a few elements that's critical to a VSL. So, you know, like when you're advertising, you know, besides the targeting, you know, you're appealing to the mass audience, to mass market. And you're trying to
before you
scale.
get to the elements, how would you if someone said, what is a VSL? How would you sort of summarize that?
Yep.
How is that different, I guess, to like a why us video on a website?
Okay, so with a video sales letter, you know, it is a video, but it's got a sales message, and it's very tactically presented, where it's hitting these points, right? So you got it's usually like a lot to do with story-based, you know, like selling. They use a lot of stories, but secondly, they use a lot of hooks, strong hooks, They use a lot of strong call to actions and a unique mechanism. So in paid ads, a lot of the VSLs that do really well have these key elements, right? A strong hook, right? They always have a strong hook or pattern interrupt just to grab the viewer's attention. But then secondly, it moves into a story, right? And we've been reading story brands, and it talks about a story, and we watch movies. There's always a story, like a horror story. There's something that connects with the mass audience, and it just builds rapport. That's one factor that must be added into a VSL. But then secondly, it needs, besides presenting a story and presenting the problems, to what we face in life, right? Let's say weight loss, I'm overweight. There's always a solution and what we call the unique mechanism. And that gets presented through too. It's like a USP. So, I'm just going like briefly, but these factors are so effective when you combine it together with a strong call to action. And a lot of the paid media guys, and companies in the industry, like specifically look at Mindvalley. Go to the Facebook, go to the Facebook library, type in Mindvalley, look at their VSLs. It is like one of the best marketing tools out there in the industry right now that you can do using a VSLs. And maybe, like I've done a lot of VSLs, we've done it. We do pretty good VSLs as well, like we know the breakdown and we do it really well, especially for paid ads. So you can't just get up and do it. There's a lot of things involved as well, but like it's, I personally love it. Like, that's what I've been working on for the past,
And that
years.
story brand, of course, you're talking about Donald Miller's story brand, premise. And we can link to the show notes because I think one of the last episodes we did was on how to build a story brand. And the idea, of course, is that we are hardwired to stories, and that's the fastest way to sell anything, actually, to communicate anything, the idea of a story. So I love that. So these VSLs, rather than sort of very product or tactical based, they're telling a story. Like, meet John. He had, rising energy costs. He's got a family to run, and et cetera, and like he's struggling to make ends meet, and he's worried about bills. And then he installed solar power, and 100%. So it's actually taking that story. So it's elevating the pain, agitating the pain, and then solving it through a story, and then saying this is how we can help. Love it.
And if you see on YouTube right now, a lot of the big tech companies, you like Grammarly, you look at some of these, Mindvalley, they're using it and they're scaling, and that's the only way to really do effectively, efficiently, and hit your return on investment. So like it's nothing new. It's been used for a while, but like not many companies use it or know how to create one.
It's an opportunity, especially if you're in a market like Australia where unlike the US who've done this to death, we can still leverage it a little bit. Okay.
And that's it for our feature buzz, right?
That's it.
Okay, moving on. This is my favorite section. Can we fix it?
Moby and Tony, can they fix it? Moby and Tony, yes they can.
So we were just saying before we recorded this episode, we really got to do something because everyone in the office or our studio, they can just see us doing these ones, but they can't actually hear the jingle, and then like you guys are watching two awkward dudes just dancing to this jingle that doesn't make sense. But anyway, awesome, of course. So welcome to our featured, segment, Can We Fix It, where Tony and I analyze a brand. We will look at the marketing of something and see what we would do different. How would we actually fix it? What recommendations come to mind in a couple of minutes? So I'm just going to go on my screen. Who are we looking at today, Tony?
Australian wholesale oils.
Australian wholesale oils. Okay, amazing. All right, should we start with the website first or the ads?
Let's look at the website.
Yeah, let's look at the website. So, okay, this is actually a friend of ours works here. And I won't say his name just in case he'll get embarrassed. But anyway, so Australian Wholesales, he works here. And these guys sell, what do they sell? Oils, essential oils. A whole bunch of stuff. I can see, just oils, carrier oils, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, one of the things that comes to mind, I love this website. It looks so clean. They've got these 3 USPs there. The first thing I would actually do is have a self-selection tool. Now, my wife, who is sitting in this office, so I have to be careful what I say, she loves essential oils. She has an oil for a cough. Like, if you've got a pimple, she's got an oil for that. If someone looked at you funny, she's got an oil for that, right?
Yeah.
So she gets this thing head to toe. but I don't, right? So say I was going to buy her a gift. One thing that'd be really helpful for me would be a self-selection tool.
So what is that? Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of using quiz marketing principles. And the idea might be, so like I go to here, like, you know, or a product selector tool, right? So I click on that and it's like, what are you looking for? You know, okay, I'm looking for, you know, let's see some of the, you know, they've got aromatherapy. So it might be I'm looking for something, you know, to relax. I'm looking for something for health. I'm looking for something for pain. You might have like 4 icons or whatever.
Oh, right.
And then you click on that and then it takes you down a journey. And then by the end, the beautiful thing about this is you have products. Like your call to action is the products. So at the end, you have 3 or 4 different products that you can go through, and it gives you the confidence. Because the problem is when anything like this, where you have a lot, like a great website like this, we have a lot of products, you have that, you know, that the paradox of choice type of thing. You get overwhelmed by so much choice.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, analysis by paralysis type of thing happens. So that's one thing. People who know what they're looking for, fantastic and great, but we don't just want to capture them. We want to increase the conversion rate. We want to capture more and more people. So I think that's definitely one thing. The other thing that I looked at is I did look at the blog. So if I go to the blog here, now I really like how, because I was going to say one of the first things I say is, you know, I'll ask clients often, like, how many articles do you think you need to write for Google to give it a damn about you and to actually make some results? And people always understate that. The answer is, for lack of time, it's 3 per week. So 3 articles per week is that sweet spot that Google really likes. The algorithm really likes it. Actually, I don't know what it is, but something that we've seen, our business partners at Impact have seen, it's not 2, it's not 1. 4 or 5 is a little bit harder. 3 is like the sweet spot. And part of that is because you need to develop a habit of content. You need to get really good at content. Now, anyway, I digress. These guys don't have that issue because I went pages and pages, a lot of content here. But what I would talk about here is maybe, you know, if I had more time, I'd evaluate whether they're covering the big 5. So the big 5 is the 5 types of content that push the needle that people look for when they're making a purchasing decision. They're about to pull out their wallet. They're looking for these types. One of the types is best, and I noticed they do have best, 5 best carrier oils for essential oils. Amazing, that's great. How, you know, that's a how-to, that's really good. But another type is versus. That's another type of content we look for when we're looking to buy something. So maybe this oil versus that oil. Another type is problems. So maybe the problems with a particular type of oil, right? Reviews. So review content will be great. You know, like whether they're reviewing their own content, their own oils, a competitor's oils, that type of stuff is really good. And what did I talk about? Best
Comparisons?
So reviews, comparison, best, cost. So with a B2C site like this, cost is sort of just implied, but there's no reason why someone couldn't do, like, you know, the cost of living an essential life with essential oils type of thing. So they're the things that come to mind. Apart from that, yes, I did have another idea. I think, so content, they've got down pat, written content, but I'd love to see more video content. I'd love to see more video content. Now, a really good example that I often give in this space is bulk nutrients, right? I obviously am not taking their products because I'm not, you know, I don't look like some of the people on this website.
You smell nice.
I smell nice, but I don't need to take protein for that. But anyway, bulk nutrients, what they do for almost every single product. Now, there's a lot happening on this page. I don't have time to analyze the page right now. A lot of good stuff too, but they have videos, right? So here is a video. We're on the product page for WPI, whey protein isolate. And if I played this video, it's a 43-second video, mind you. So they would have smashed out 30 of these in like a day. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about WPI, we're going to talk about WPC, BCAA, etc., etc. So it does so many things. Like it's such a trust builder to see this stuff, to see people from their brand wearing their logo, like the production quality isn't crazy. This is something that could have been coached on internally and never needed to spend thousands of dollars on this ongoing. But it's good enough. You know, it's more than good enough, but also it's not crazy out there as well. So there's sort of 3 things that come to mind: self-selection tool, looking at big 5 content, and I'd love to see a lot more videos, like a lot of product-based, benefit-based videos to break up and supplement a lot of their written content.
Great,
cool.
Great stuff.
What did you have? You had some, I think you analyzed some of their ads.
Yeah. Even incorporating some of the big 5, you can use it for paid ads. And like looking at the ads, they're good. They're nice, you know, they're clean. They look very professional. But on Facebook, you can't just be too linear. You have to go into different areas like more videos. The strategies you can do to get more engagements. But specifically, I like to see more like maybe influencers or UGC, user generated content.
Yep, UGC content.
Get a little bit tactical, like even using the big five movies on like pain points, comparisons, all that sort of stuff. That you
Right.
spoke
So
about.
take that big five content and do it as an ad, like the
Yeah.
best essential oil for blah, or
Yeah.
this versus this. Yeah.
Because you're giving more dynamic and different angles that you can approach it, because like with static ads on Facebook, they can die out and get banner blindness, and Facebook's going to punish you. So we've got to keep it clean and refresh and relatable. That's very important. And like we want to see like you see in TikTok and some of the Facebook, it has to be relatable. There has to be someone in there using it. That's what people want to see. You know what I mean? And what's it used for, right?
Yeah, humanize it. Yeah, so
humanize
they are
it.
doing a little bit here. The 3 essential oils to remove and kill mold. That's like a really best type.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's something that we saw when we did the fitness playground one too. There's a lot of polish. It seems very producty. So like you say, adding that UGC, having humans in this, maybe someone applying it, I think it adds a lot more relatability. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And the biggest trap that a lot of companies fall into is they think the videos and the images has to be professional. We're on Facebook. People want to see relatable things. So like, using just not cheap quality, but lower quality is just good enough, for your ads and stuff.
Yeah. What else do you have?
Moving on to Google Shopping.
And by the way, we are obviously sharing our screen and looking at this. If you want to see me and Tony's heads and what we're looking at, go to redpandas.com.au/EP124. But yeah, for those listeners, you can just follow along. But yeah, so now we're looking at Google Shopping ads essentially.
Yeah. So Google Shopping ads, specifically it's the images, that help with the click-through rate. So testing the images is a tactic that we do at Red Pandas, where for Google Shoppings, we like to test a lot of different images, because every image will produce a different click-through rate. So that's something to try. Also trying different headlines and, different, you can get very tactical with the headlines as well, and with pricing, and because there's different multiple versions of it. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can do with shopping just to optimize that I would see. So there's room for improvement, and there's money on the table just looking at that.
So so we're looking at these nice product images. What would you do differently in terms of some of these images?
Well, I'll like with the let's say this image here, right? Yeah, we can try a different image, or we can put a background, like for example, they're putting like a background with a tree at the back. We can try different stuff.
So these are ads.
Yeah, they're ads too.
These are ads here. So you typed in Australia. So they're not running Google Shopping ads right now.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And just looking at it, it's just testing the image. See, it's on a white background. Maybe try on the grey background, or like a blue background, or something. That just captures the attention.
Yeah, mix it up a bit. Yeah.
So we do that, and that usually determines a lot of the click-through rate. There's a lot of things that simply you can do that people forget about when they think they just upload and that's it. Google's going to do the rest, but you still got to monitor and manage the shopping campaigns.
Okay, awesome.
And yeah, that's fair.
That
Just something basic, that we give. Don't want to get too tactical
high
today.
level stuff. Obviously, we could go to death on this. But yeah, okay, awesome. So I think that's all we've got time for. Any passing thoughts from yourself?
No, thank you for listening today.
Awesome, guys. We'll join you again for another episode of Inbound Buzz.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.